precisely 1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The central bank further tightens its monetary policy stance. Police obtain court order against protests planned by religious leaders. It has been stressed that the railway service will be further strengthened. Another man waiting in fuel queue dies after falling ill. Mother delivers baby while waiting in passport queue. In news overseas, the Tamil Nadu police donates 14 million Indian rupees to the people of Sri Lanka. 4 cabinet ministers visit Johnson, tell him to quit. We move on to local news in detail. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to increase its standing deposit facility rate and the standing lending facility rate by 100 basis points to 14.50% and 15.50% respectively. The decision was taken at the meeting of Central Bank's Monetary Board yesterday, having noted the higher-than-expected escalation of headline inflation recently and the increased persistence of high inflation in the period ahead. The Monetary Board was of the view that a further monetary policy tightening would be necessary to contain any build-up of adverse inflation expectations. Colombo Fort Police has obtained a court order against a protest demonstration to be staged by a group of Buddhist monks and other religious leaders at Olcott Mawatha today. Police said the Colombo Magistrates Court has issued an order preventing a group of Buddhist monks, other religious leaders and their members from entering Olcott Mawatha and obstructing or inconveniencing the public by gathering at any other place in the vicinity of Petta. The police headquarters stated that the order has been issued after considering the facts submitted to the Colombo Magistrates Court in accordance with the provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure by the Petta Police OIC regarding a protest that was organized to be held in Petta area today. Accordingly, the Colombo Magistrates Court has issued an order preventing the relevant persons from entering Olcott Mawatha in the Petta Police area or from obstructing the public vehicle movement and the pavements on both sides of the road in front of Olcott Mawatha, Bodhirukkarama Temple or any other place in the Petta Police area. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. Continuing with more stories here at home. The Railway Department says that it is expected to further strengthen the railway service. Deputy General Manager of Railways Gamini Senaviratna said that the trains will be added for operation from Veyangoda and Kaluthara often. There is a huge congestion in office trains due to more people using more trains. He told SLBC that every possible measure will be taken to enhance the service with the use of limited resources that is available at the Railway Department. A 60-year-old man who was waiting in a fuel queue outside a filling station in Payagala died today after suddenly falling ill. He was pronounced dead after being rushed to the District General Hospital in Kaluthara. The deceased, a 3-wheeler driver by occupation, was identified as a resident of the Moratua area. A pregnant mother who came to the Department of Immigration and Emigration in Colombo to obtain her passport had delivered a baby this morning. The security forces personnel on duty had admitted the mother, who complained of labor pains, to the Castle Hospital where she had delivered the baby. She is from Hatton. The Chief Security Officer of the Immigration Department said the woman and her husband joined the queue to obtain their passports last night. A person in a possession of stock of fuel valued at 850,000 rupees without a license has been taken into custody by the Special Task Force. He is a resident of Mathura. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Tamil Nadu police has donated 14 million Indian rupees to the people of Sri Lanka. The Indian media reports that the Indian Defence Service Association has also provided 66 million Indian rupees as well. Deputy Chief of Police in charge of the Tamil Nadu has handed over these funds to the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, recently.
The main news story was brought to you by Sidhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight, the two-story trade complex belonging to the Ratkama Pradesha Sabha has been closed for a long time. The complex includes 22 trade stalls, and out of that 17 stalls have been closed. The building was constructed at a cost of 6 million rupees 22 years ago. The building complex is at a dilapidated condition. The residents in the area have requested the relevant authorities to use the building for a useful matter. This is for the attention of the chairman of the Ratkama Pradesha Sabha. That's on Watchlight. World News Headlines. 4 cabinet ministers visit Johnson, tells him to quit. South Korea planning strategic command to boost deterrence against North. Argentine ex-army officers jailed over dirty war crimes against humanity. World News in detail. Multiple British media outlets say 4 cabinet ministers, including the new finance minister, visited British Prime Minister Boris Johnson yesterday and urged him to resign. Johnson is now facing open revolt from his fellow Conservative Party members, with more and more calling on him to quit amid political scandals and resignations of senior cabinet ministers. Johnson has been under fire over a series of parties held in his office while strict coronavirus lockdowns were in place. Last week, a senior party official he appointed quit over sexual misconduct allegations. South Korea plans to establish a strategic command to counter North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. The command will oversee the operations of the country's core military assets to bolster deterrence. The South Korean Defense Ministry announced the plan following a meeting of President Yoon Suk-yeol with top commanders yesterday. The South Korean military is building a 3-pronged strategy against the North Koreans' missile threats. It consists of preemptive strikes against signs of a launch, interception in the event of a launch, and counterattacks against offensives. Finally, on World News, a court in Argentina has sentenced 19 former military service officers to long prison terms for crimes against humanity during the country's military dictatorships in 1976 to 83. The crimes included forced disappearances, murder, torture and kidnapping of children. Among those sentenced was General Santiago Riveros, previously convicted for another human rights violation. He received a life sentence after being found guilty of more than 100 crimes. The sentences were handed down by the federal court in the capital Buenos Aires yesterday. It ruled that crimes were committed against some 350 victims. That's on World News. Moving on to development news. 45 schools in the southern province will be developed. The development project will be initiated under the guidance of the Ministry of Zonal Education. Modern technological equipment and computers will also be provided to these schools. 1 million rupees will be given as financial assistance to develop infrastructure facilities of schools.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank, we present your future.
Sri Lankan cricketers Dhananjaya De Silva and Jeffrey Van der Sar have been ruled out of the second test against Australia as both players have tested positive for COVID-19 according to Sri Lanka Cricket. This brings the total number of Sri Lankan national team players to test positive for the virus to 4. Previously, star all-rounder Angelo Matthews tested positive late on day 2 of the first test and was subsequently ruled out of the contest. Oshada Fernando was called in as his replacement. Matthews had returned a positive rapid antigen test after feeling unwell. Sri Lanka Cricket had said he has since been isolated from other team members. Praveen Jayavikrama has also tested positive for COVID-19 and was isolated immediately for 5 days. Sri Lanka is hoping for Matthews' return and should he recover in time for the second test, which starts tomorrow. Australia are leading the 2-match series 1-0 after sealing a convincing win in the first test by 10 wickets. That's on Sports News.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka has once again stepped up to provide its expertise to medium-level businesses in the country by helping them transform and enter the global marketplace. CA Sri Lanka, together with People's Bank, recently kicked off yet another important SME mentoring program aimed at providing knowledge and expertise, including access to finance, for the benefit of 34 medium-level entrepreneurs to reach higher levels in their respective industries.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the globally respected UK magazine The Banker has once again included the Commercial Bank of Ceylon in its prestigious top 1,000 world banks ranking, making Commercial Bank the only Sri Lankan bank to be ranked among the elite global giants in banking for 12 consecutive years.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And on the weather update, the Met Department says that showers will occur at times in Sabaragamo province and in Nuwara and Kandy districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the western and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Strong winds about 40 to 50 km per hour can be expected at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills and in southern province. Before we conclude this bulletin of news, back to the headlines. The central bank further tightens its monetary policy stance. Police obtained court order against protest planned by religious leaders. It has been stressed that the railway service will be further strengthened. Another man waiting in fuel queue dies after falling ill. Mother delivers baby while waiting in passport queue. The Tamil Nadu police donates 14 million Indian rupees to the people of Sri Lanka. News overseas for cabinet ministers visit Johnson tells him to quit. And with that we conclude this bulletin of news.